Hello everyone, myself Kashmira, and today in this video tutorial I would explain the concept of autoscaling. So before going to the practical session, I would talk about the theoretical part and concept behind this autoscaling group. So what is autoscaling group? It is one of the AWS services which basically helps you to maintain the application's availability by scaling up or down by automatically launching EC2 instance for certain conditions. For example, you can add more instances when application load increases, or you can remove the instances automatically when the load decreases or when the load goes down, or you can say that at any point of time you wanted to have an application to run with 5 instances, or say suppose 10 instances, so you can configure in this group. To configure autoscaling group, we need minimum number of instances. Of course, we need 1 instances to run our application. But during the configuration, you can say that I would like to start with say 5 instances or 10 instances. So during the load time, when the CPU gets more than 80% or 90%, how would you want to scale up a bunch of 5 instances, a bunch of 2 instances? That's what you scale out as needed, and what is desired. So here are some of the listed points, that is AWS auto scaling group. First is maintain applications availability by scaling up or down your Amazon EC2 automatically, adds more instances during high load, removes instances during less load, run desired number of Amazon EC2 instances. When configuration parts comes into picture, there are two points. First is launch configuration template, and second is auto scaling group. So launch configuration templates, you have to configure AMI, instance type, storage, security groups, SH key pair, SSH key pair. And for auto scaling group, second part, you have to use this launch configuration, and you have to configure subnet scaling policies for increase and decrease, monitoring and alarm. So now we will go to the practical demonstration of this auto scaling group. Here is the AWS my account. Here you can see that the no number of instances has been running. So I will launch an new instance. First is choose an Amazon machine image, which I choose as Ubuntu, that is an operating system. So it is free tier eligible, so I select it. Now here you have to choose an instance type, which is general purpose C2.micro, which is freely available. So I'll click this and next configure this. You can see that configuration instance to suit your requirements. So I'll click on next, add storage. Storage is 8 size GB and volume type is general purpose SSD. You do not need to change here. So next is add tags. Tags are consist of a case sensitive key value pair. So here I write it as name, and you can write as a web server, which I give it as web servers. Now click on next, configure security group, and click here you can create a new security group or select an existing security group. So I select this as default VPC setting group. So I click on review and launch, and this will review launch. This shows the detail of whatever you have done the changes, or whatever you have configured back. So I'll click here. You can see all the referred configuration here, and I'll click on the launch. Now our EC2 instance will ask you for a key value pair, which is there are two options to choose or choose create. So I'll choose this because I'll already created it, which is demo, and then I'll launch the instances. So my instance has been launching by the time now we will go to another part. As you know that for this auto scaling group, snapshots and AMI, these are the entities using which you are auto scaling your resources. So EC2 instances is a fresh piece of computer. On that computer you have to choose an operating system, and you install various types of softwares. So every time when you launch an instance, you have to do all the necessary configuration, which I did. Now you can see here my instance is been launching till now. So suppose you want to create 5 servers which are identical, which are exactly like each other. So one way of doing is that you would launch a new instance every time, and another way is you can create an image, and using that image you can deploy We install Apache 2. It has been installing. So here we create a new file, index1.html. Press I so that you can write here. I have an option here. I have a code here. I copy paste it. And I press OK. So now we will see that if it is accessible. Okay. Yes, it is accessible. Now I'll terminate this instance. Instance has been terminated. Now we'll go for auto scaling group. Launch configuration. Click on create launch configuration button. Now you can add your EMI, which I have created. General purpose T2.micro free available EC2 instance. Click on next configure detail. Write your configuration name, which is config, and by clicking enabling your cloud watch detail monitoring, it will watch your all the services. But if you do so, you might get charged. You will get charged. So I'm not enabling this. I'm not changing any of this, and I don't have an IMI list, so I click on next. Add storage. Storage is already defined, which is 8 size, volume type, general. You can also change this, but this is all which is being defined. So I'm clicking on next. Configure security group. Here you can create and also select an existing key. That is, I am selecting an existing. So it review this. Will see all the configuration which you made here. Launch configuration detail, whatever name you have given. Then again storage, security groups, so I click on this create launch config. Again you choose an existing key pair or create a new key pair, or a key pair which you have created first. So I create on this launch configuration. A launch configuration status is being successfully created, and now I create an auto scaling group using this launch configuration. So I create this. I'll create a group name as auto scaling web server. I start with 2 instances since I want to start with minimum of 2 instances. Network is default VPC. It is always preferred that you should use a default VPC. You can also create a new VPC, but it is a good practice to use a default VPC. For subnet, you can create a new subnet, or you can select the existing subnet. It is always preferred to select at least 2 subnets. Since you have 4 regions, you can select all the subnets, so that whenever the application is being accessible, it can be it can be run in any region if the user wants to. So here are again an option of advanced detail. You have to do configuration here. Since we have created a classic load balancer, you have to enable this receive traffic from one or more load balancer. So by enabling this, you will get an option as classic load balancer. So we have created a load balancer of web server LV. Since it is a classic load balancer, so there is no target group here. And if so, here click on create auto scaling group. Now creating auto scaling group is successful, and it is being successfully. Now you can see that when you go to your EC2 management console, you can see that 2 instances will be in running condition. See here, 2 instances are being in running condition. And in load balancer, 2 instances will be assigned. Click on the instances, you can see the number of instances assigned, which is 2. Since it is out of service, that is that index.html file is not still reachable. It is still being initializing. Or you can say that 2 instances are being auto scaled. So in this way, this auto scaling group works, and with the load balancers with EC2 instances, this is the procedure. We'll wait for some time since it is being initialized. One of the instances being assigned, that is running. Status check is 2x2 checks. Second is also being initialized. So this is all about auto scaling group.